Okay.
I don't know if I'm on ready. It's just whenever you are. Did you already hit go? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I dislike you now. I'm just joking, buddy.
Okay.
I'm just joking. How we doing today? How we doing today? How we doing today?
I think we're doing pretty good. I don't know how you doing today, Brandon.
I'm pretty good. Did you already hit? You can't read those. Don't read those. Don't read those.
Hey man, I'm not reading
That's
those.
for my own stuff.
Don't worry, bro.
Those are my own notes.
I'm not screen looking, bro. I'm not a screen watcher. Remember that was a thing playing video games as a kid?
Yeah, back in the day.
Dude, quit watching my screen!
When you had to play split screen, fuck
Couch
yes, I
play
remember
was
that
the only way to
shit.
play. I miss couch play co-op games, man. Those were the days when the video game didn't have to be connected online.
So we're back.
We
We're
are
back.
Episode 11.
It makes me think
Yeah.
that we really don't know where we're going.
None of us do, man. From the time we come out of the womb.
But since the last 10 episodes, we know where we've been. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. That's a very good point.
And I mean, I just don't know how we can get better than that, you know?
And then repetition is the father of all learning,
Right.
as Lil Wayne said.
Like some would say, we've been hanging on to promises of the songs of yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Some may say.
But
But there's songs to be made tomorrow, though, right?
but we're 11 episodes in.
Right?
So I think we finally made up our minds. And we ain't wasting no more time, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you?
I think I do.
Do you? Going down the only road I've ever known.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like
I've
a
always-
drifter.
I've always wanted to play this song on a podcast.
It's a classic.
They're coming out with a new album.
That's what I like, dude. I love that older bands are still rocking it out.
Yeah, except they're like 80 and can't do it.
It's like Kiss, dude. I think they're close to 70. Kiss is pushing 70 years old.
They just showed up.
I know. My buddy Jeff went. I missed it, unfortunately. But I've seen him before, and it's an amazing show for sure. I would rather all of the other bigger Kiss fans than me have had a ticket to.
Yeah, I've not been to a lot of concerts.
But I don't
to tell
think
you
they
the
sold
truth.
out, so they're not that big.
You've been to a lot of concerts?
I've been. I love concerts, dude.
I've been to. I can count them on my hand.
Oh, also, we're watching UFC fights down here. It's
Yes,
Saturday,
yes.
March 23rd. Is
Yes,
it?
it's UFC Fight Night 148. Steven Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis.
So two Anthony's fighting.
No,
Steven and Anthony.
Steven
Okay.
Thompson and then Anthony
For some
Pettis.
reason, I just thought of Steven Tyler.
So, and most of you might know who Anthony Pettis is. He's the dude that kicked that dude when he jumped off the cage and knocked him out.
The video game style UFC knockout.
Yeah, well, he knocked. Yeah, Benson Henderson. He actually did it in a cage in Bellator.
Pretty epic.
But right now we have a second round of Macy Baba
I'm watching some women beat each other. These
JJ
aren't-
Aldridge fight.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 minutes, 2:30, 2:29,
I think it's-
2:28
I
of the
think-
second round. So
I think it's equally entertaining to watch women beat the shit out of each other as it is men. But I think it's so funny. It's just like, you know, when somebody tells a guy you run like a girl. You know how there's like feminine ways to do things?
right.
There's definitely a feminine way to fight. And it's not that it's not brutal, but like the way chicks like jump around like in stance with each other, it's characteristic of their Y chromosome.
Bro, both these girls weigh 100. Macy Baba
Was that TKO?
just won. Yeah. And I was gonna say that both these girls that weigh 115 pounds would fuck you up. Even though you're talking about them jumping around doing all this nonsense, Macy Barber would have just lit your ass up.
I would still like to fight him.
Look, JJ Aldridge is so sad. I think she just lost her last 2 fights.
I'll put on some headgear and throw some swings with him. I want to test my ability, you know.
Macy Barber though,
I think having that experience would make me like shape up my entire physical like athletic
Yeah.
life.
Well, as of right now, because I like to give awards out for when I watch
Whew.
UFC events.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say right now, Macy Barber has won Body of the Night so far.
Yeah.
She looks good, man. And Body of the Night is not sexist.
Dude,
If I see a dude that's like jacked, he's winning Body of the Night.
every time I see chicks fight in the UFC, I automatically want to get my hair braided because they have some
Yeah.
really sweet braids.
Banana Sports Center.
I can't believe she.
Let's turn this off.
Yeah, Joe Rogan would yell at you so bad right now.
Yeah.
She was blocking her head and stuff, but yeah, that ref made a good call because she was like almost
No,
non-responding.
she
That was like
she
fetal
just-
position
yeah,
covering.
Good fetal position. That's not. You have to defend yourself. You have to intelligently defend yourself.
Well, her hand was in front of her face, and her face was where she was hitting
That's
her.
not intelligent.
And that's the
intelligent
thing,
would
exactly.
be moving
I think
away.
I haven't said it on this podcast, but I've said before, intelligence is easy to define scientifically and hard to define philosophically.
That's a good point, bro.
You know, you can define like, you know.
Ba-doop, 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 bop,
And
bop.
if you ask 10 different people what intelligence is, you will get 10 different answers.
Correct. What do
I
you
love
think-
questions like that.
What do you think intelligence is?
I think intelligence is responding to to any environment around you. If you respond to external stimulus, you are intelligent.
So you just broke it down on like a super intense level. I was just thinking like I don't like stupid people. That's what I was thinking. Like fuck them.
That's one way to look at it, you know. And that's the thing, you know. I just said how hard it is to define our intelligence. I don't think it's hard to define stupidity. Stupidity defines itself.
You really think stupidity defines itself?
As a word, like I don't know. Think about the two words. Does intelligence define itself? Well, not necessarily, because then words wouldn't need definitions if they defined it themselves. But in terms of what they are ideologically, I feel like it goes both ways. I think there's many forms of intelligence and there's many forms of stupidity.
I agree with that. Hey, this podcast.
I think we're all pretty intelligent and kind of stupid.
This podcast is brought to you by Bud Light.
Yeah, we're totally sponsored by Bud Light now.
That's not.
Bring it in the truckloads.
They don't make their beer with corn syrup, and that's why I drink it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why
Zero
why
corn
you
syrup.
got something against corn syrup?
No,
Did corn syrup do something to you?
Corn
in
syrup is
past life?
very unhealthy.
Okay. So I'm not very well educated on all of the bad
Nutrition?
things you shouldn't put in your body according to different people. Like, obviously, trans fats is one of them. GMOs is one. Corn syrup.
It's not healthy.
What's the other one? Well, people are
Don't even say gluten.
yeah, gluten. So there's all
That's
kinds of
bunch
these
of
weird
nonsense.
things that people feel the need to avoid in their lives.
If you're allergic to gluten, go fuck yourself. All right, that's what I say.
That's from him, not me.
Oh, I can't eat pizza unless it has gluten-free crust.
If you have
You know
if
what?
you have a gluten allergy, that's acceptable.
Fuck you.
If you just don't want to eat gluten, you're a
What?
hipster.
See, no one's ever died from gluten.
Unless they had a gluten allergy, which
No,
is the
it's
unique-
never happened.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not, but I'm claiming it right now. I'm claiming it. It would have been a thing. You would have heard about it before fucking 5 years ago. Like you heard.
And that's
you
what I'm
heard
saying.
about peanut.
They've been making beer forever, Brandon.
right.
Bud Light just added corn syrup.
No,
or
they
just
didn't.
took it out. That's what I'm saying. Somebody added corn syrup to the beer recipe somewhere way late in the line.
Yeah.
And beer is way better without it.
Yeah.
But you drink it because it's not in it.
I
So
drink it
beyond
because-
that, I would say some people don't drink Bud Light not because it doesn't have corn syrup in it, but because it has something in it that they prefer another beer over because it doesn't. The same way you prefer that because it doesn't have something.
No, they got you. Have you not seen the commercials? They have this big slogan.
I really won't watch
It's like
mass marketing.
It's like there's only 3 things in Bud Light at this point.
Okay,
It's hops, wheat, and water.
I really didn't know that.
Hops, barley, and water. That's it. So they got rid of corn syrup. Like they put, like I didn't bring the 12-pack with me,
Right?
but they're the like one of the first, might be the first company to put their actual ingredients on the label.
That's really interesting, dude. I was thinking about that, and I think about that often, actually. It's amazing to me that the country of America, the nation of America, the FDA requires things to be sold in stores. They have to be, like, approved to do so.
Right.
And anything that you buy on a store shelf, I believe, maybe not, I don't know if it's required by law. I'm under the impression that it's required by law to have a list of ingredients on it in order to be sold, to some extent. But it doesn't matter whether it's food, whether you can eat it or not. Most things have an ingredient list breakdown of how they're made up. Besides, like, raw chemicals and stuff, right?
Right.
So, anything we buy at the store, we can go look on the label, right?
Yes.
But think about cigarettes, alcohol, and tobacco. Like tobacco, alcohol, and firearms.
Hookers.
Yeah.
They don't come with
But
an
mainly
ingredient
alcohol and
list.
tobacco, right? So no company that sells alcohol and tobacco have ingredient lists on them.
No, Bud Light
But
does,
the
bro.
government gets a cut of the profit that those companies. It's ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. That's a wing
Yes.
of the government.
Yeah.
So alcohol and tobacco, anything like the money that gets taxed off of those things, the government makes money on.
Right.
I believe. But why does our government require that all the other companies in the world to put ingredient lists on these products, but the government doesn't require the companies that they allow to sell the public these things, a list of that same information. It's preposterous, dude. Like, it absolutely is ridiculous.
You already know you're fucking up. You already know it's not good for you. Why the fuck do you need ingredients to tell you it's not good? Fuck that. Live your life, people. Go do heroin.
Eat whatever food you want to eat, and don't feel like you need to prescribe to other people's agendas to not put something in your body.
That brings us into my next good point. I wanted to ask you today. I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in history, what do you think the purpose of life is? Because it used to be like grow up,
reproduce,
get a baby, like live, keep that thing living until it can grow up and have a baby, and like that was the extent. But now we're living to, we'll just say like baseline 100 years old. There's plenty of people that live to 100 nowadays, at least 90.
Yeah. I would say like 80 is a common age to live.
So
to
what is the purpose of life? Like, if
this
you're not
point,
doing it for reproductive purposes, what would you find important for life for you?
I'm really glad you asked, because I've thought about this a lot lately. Like, I am almost 28 years old. I'll be 28 this August. And I don't have kids yet, and I haven't been married. I have a lot of friends who have kids and are married, or have been married and got divorced.
Do you think you got lucky that you didn't have, like you don't have kids, you're not married, you don't not in a divorce, you're not in a serious relationship? Like, do you feel lucky that you've actually had the past, we'll say, 8 years since high school to actually sit back, think about what the fuck you want to do with your life, now that we're living to the point that we are till 80 years old?
Exactly, yeah. Dude, that's a great coinciding question with my explanation of this, because my parents had me when they were both about 30 years old.
Right.
So as I've gotten older and not had kids and not gotten married, I've given myself the time frame of 30 years old for those things to unfold. If they don't by that time, I'm still okay, but I know how my parents' life played out given the timeline that they had kids in and unfolded their life in.
Right.
So just like we all do with most things in life, you compare and contrast situations of where you've been, where you want to be, where other people are.
Which is a terrible way of doing it.
It is, but it's the only way we know how to have relative perception.
Right. Well, I mean, as long as you are better than you were yesterday, right?
That's
but
true.
That gets away from the point. Like, what do you think life? What do you think life is about?
Yeah.
Like,
so by defining that 30-year timeline for myself, you know, do I consider myself lucky not having kids yet? I wouldn't call it lucky, because I have had nothing but bad luck in a lot of the experiences I've had in life other than children. So like the serious relationships that I have been in a few times have driven me to a level, and it's not just the relationship. This is also my personal substance abuse problems that I've talked about, and different parts of life at the same time. So you combine certain things, just like a chemical reaction, it's going to explode.
Right.
So the relationships, the relationships that have been years long and unfolding and not working out, I think have been detrimental to me in a negative way, as opposed to beneficial in the life impact way of having children. So I don't think I'm lucky in not having children. I think I have learned a whole different aspect and perception of life through a lens that I wouldn't have gotten had I had kids already. But also I wouldn't have the perception that I have of life now that I have had all those other experiences.
See, I think that's what makes you lucky. I don't like you.
I would term it lucky in a relative sense.
So I would say you're lucky because, one, you've got to live your life up to this point, meaning you can still have at this point in time, you can still have kids and you can enjoy that kid. You're not dying at 52.
Yeah.
You can enjoy that kid until he's 18.
I
whatever.
don't think it's lucky. I'm just glad that I haven't had a kid yet.
But also, like,
and still can if I want to.
I think it's lucky that. Okay, so you're say you turn 28. Say you do have your kid when you're 30 years old.
Right.
That means you have 70 years of, say, a happy marriage and having a kid, where you have already lived 30 years of, I wouldn't say like sowing your wild oats, but
getting
like actual
to know me.
Living life.
Yeah.
You know yourself. You know the experience.
I have 30 years of knowledge on me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, might sound bullshit and might not be real, but I think you would have more or less of a chance to fuck things up further in the future, because you know what you want. You know what you're not missing because you've already gotten what you don't want.
It's process of elimination of life.
Yeah, exactly.
You weed out the things
What
you
is
don't want anymore.
what is a midlife crisis?
You always hear that. People say as you get older, you get more picky, you get more particular because you've lived longer and you know what you don't have patience for anymore.
So how could you tie down and have a kid at 18 years old?
Because you haven't weeded out. You've only had 18 years worth of weeding out what you want yet.
That's all you know.
Yeah, you can't perceive what you don't know yet, which is why that's the value and wisdom that comes with age and time. Todd,
exactly.
You know, and that's really awesome that you brought that up. But back to your original question, dude. So if with my given philosophical thought, if the idea of life isn't to reproduce, because we all have the ability innately to reproduce. If you're a natural living organism, you have the ability to reproduce.
For the most
maybe
part.
genetically, if you don't, for some medically,
every now
certain
and then.
terms, yeah. Which is also a part of the natural cycle of life and how it comes out. Yeah, that's just the luck of the draw, as they say. But so if you cannot produce or reproduce, I don't think the value of life therein is lessened or depreciated in any way. And the reason that I say that is because now I would say our main focus of life generally, as a general overview, as a population, a global population, for the first time, should not be about reproduction or like global consciousness or anything like that. It should be about sustaining the longevity of the planet, I really think.
Yeah.
I think our main focus right now should be on sustainability and reducing carbon footprint. Like the point of life now, I think, Brandon, is to make sure that life is able to continue to live. Because we have only, as far as
that's your purpose of life right now.
My purpose of life right now is to make people realize that this planet will not be around long enough to tell the stories, all the stories in history that we know of in the future. Like there won't be any more history in 500 years if there's none of us and no planet here to record history.
You don't think the purpose of life is to reproduce anymore. It's pretty much just to stay,
to share, to make sure that everyone is
the human population is good, but to also make sure that the Earth is going to last.
Yeah,
and that
to
we
make sure there's
going
to be an Earth and a planet here for future generations. Because I don't think enough people care about the planet today, but they certainly don't put enough thought into the planet of the future. Yeah. And we all only have anywhere from 10 to 80 years worth of memory of how the planet has been. Well, and I in my opinion, I don't want to go off on a whole climate change rant or whatever. But we live in the Midwest, and I have only witnessed winters get shorter as I've gotten older. Yeah. I can only say that as a fact, and I only know because I started snowboarding when I was about 12 or 13, and every year snowboard season has gotten shorter. Lift tickets have gotten more expensive, and I've gotten to snowboard less. And I've fallen in love with snowboarding as I've gotten older more, but I get to do it less and less and less because I live in the Midwest, and there's not enough snow every single year.
But also,
don't get me wrong, it snows every year.
But also your time reference is thrown off. So when did you first start snowboarding? 6 years old?
No, about 12 years old. So
we'll say 12. Right then, you had 12 winters to reflect on.
Since then, I've had double that.
Longer. Exactly.
So, but that's the thing about getting old. When you're born, when you turn 1, you have 1 year worth of knowledge. When you turn 2,
have 1 year worth of time reflection. Yes. I wouldn't say knowledge. People don't learn all the time.
But time, yeah, exactly. No, but you have 1 year worth of experience, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Once you get to 2, you've doubled the experience you have. Once you get to 3, you don't double it again. Nope. But once you get to 6, then you double the 3. Yep. So your knowledge and your experience doesn't necessarily reflect the immediate experience, I guess. And that's a good point, though. Like, I couldn't have possibly... I could only have compared that
the length
with the
of
winter
the
when I was 13 to the other 12 winters.
Exactly.
And of those 12, I was, not really self-aware for like 6 of them,
Right.
I think so.
And now you don't really have like you used to have a time reference, aka summer I got out of school. Winter was longer. Nowadays, we really don't. Like, as a working adult, you pretty much every day is the same day. You don't get a winter break. You don't get a summer
Exactly,
break.
which is why I told my mom there needs to be acceptable mental health days for adults. Like,
I would agree with that.
You know,
like the first great day of spring, everybody should get the fucking day off.
Yeah.
Go walk in the park.
or if you really are on the verge of a mental breakdown because of other things that are going on in your life, you should be able to tell your employer, I need a mental health day. This isn't a sick day.
Right,
I'm
it's
not
not a
sick.
sick
This is
day.
a
This
you know,
is-
and just like you're allotted a certain amount of sick time per hours, everyone should be allotted at least 2 mental health days because it's so important to sustain your mental health. But that was kind of a side note. But
I agree with that. Look at this white dude with an afro.
hey, man,
Hey, we're
that's
watching
me.
UFC Fight Night 148.
Yeah, we're on the next card here. I didn't know. Did you see who won that fight?
Yeah, bro.
That chick, who was it?
Macy
Oh, yeah, that chick, yeah.
Baba.
I hate when people run into the center of the ring. Have some composure. It's a fucking martial art. It's not a
Right.
fucking.
Well, you're
street
just
fight.
gonna get caught.
Yeah.
That's all that's gonna happen. I know this dude with the afro.
You know him personally?
No.
Okay.
I've seen him fight before. He's real good. He's 9-1 right now.
Damn.
I forget the
Pena.
Oh yeah, Pena.
Pena.
There's no
Yeah.
accent over there. And,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say something else real quick, and I just forgot.
I was just wondering if that's what, like, you are a much better person than me, because my purpose of life right now is just to make me happy.
Dude, no, I finally reached a place where I really like. It's so cliche. People say, "Oh, you can't love someone else, so you love yourself." Hey, people, cliche as fuck, but it's true as hell. Like,
Right.
like I finally want to hang out with myself, bro. Like,
Right.
growing up, I got my whole life, I've only ever wanted best friend, like a significant other, whether it be platonic or romantic. And I was actually talking to this chick recently, and I told her, like, I feel that I have taken every relationship I've ever been in my life more seriously than the other person I'm in the relationship with.
You're right.
I feel that way about friendships. I feel that way about romantic things. And for some reason, my personality in the end inevitably tends to push people away. And I don't understand it. And it causes like a self-destruction kind of thing. But it makes me wonder if I just am an unstable individual, for as well informed as I seem to appear to be.
I think
to
I'm
others.
fucking unstable.
I think we are
individual,
unstable to
but-
some degree, but it really, and, you know, when you go through 27 years of life and 20 years worth of friendships, and you've only got, you know, that is
Right,
life,
there's
though.
three
You,
left standing.
and my mom made it clear to me and my dad, you know, you don't keep all the friends you have over time. And I understand that to a full extent. After you get out of high school, you
But-
make less friends.
That brings me to my next question I want to bring up to you.
Okay.
How the fuck do you make manships or friendships later on in life?
That's, dude. There,
Like, because the only new friend I've had in the past since the fuck I got out of high school,
Yeah.
since I got out of college, really, is you. But that's because we started a podcast together.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think people know how to make friends, know how to go do things.
that is great,
like,
dude.
Community, like just doing this between me and you and
Yeah.
other people listening to this,
Yeah.
like I feel better as a person
Yes.
through communication, through
100%,
talking.
me too.
Most people don't sit down and talk with another person.
Yeah, they and that's what I think we don't realize that we have done is all we've done by starting this podcast is set aside 2 times a week to talk together to each other about things for an hour apiece.
That
you
we
know?
find interesting
Yeah.
or
Just-
newsworthy events that
And it's almost
we come
forced.
across.
It's almost scheduled socialization, right? It's very odd to look at it
At
that
this
way.
point, that's all it is. But I do have a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, it adds
So-
like it makes like having a schedule, having an agenda, having things to do. At a certain point in life, it becomes too much. If you're a kid who's played sports for 15 years and only that sport every day, all year round, you don't want to play that sport anymore.
No, you'll get burnt out.
Yeah, you'll get burnt out. And when you're only 15 and you've done that for 10 years, you don't want to do that anymore. Like, that's...
You
but-
have no interest in it.
exactly,
That's
yeah.
what happens to a lot of football players.
I think exactly that's what happened to me with football, but I loved football and I miss it now. But at the
Right.
time, I didn't realize how much I would miss it later. But I think that's what we forget, dude. What we don't realize, and it's not inherent to tell us because all we have as a kid is like, oh, I want to be an adult, and everyone says you'll want to be a kid again, and you don't understand it. You're like, what are you talking about? I can't wait to be an adult. We don't realize that the social construct or organization of our society is built around socializing us at a young age. So we're socialized through the education system that brings us up and keeps us together and gives us a baseline of knowledge for 12 years. But we don't realize as a society that those first 18 years of life are going to be the most social 18 years of your life.
Only
unless you go
only if
into
you allow it to, though.
And even,
because me and you have
even
started
so,
this
you can
podcast
have-
out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
then-
all it was. Me and you, like, okay, we haven't even talked about it. Me and you never hung out in school.
Exactly.
We saw each other on the football field at most.
Yeah, a football practice in McCoy's class.
I sent you a text message drunk or a Facebook message drunk saying, "Oh shit, I heard you're doing a podcast." And then
I
5
was
minutes
stoked.
later, sent you another one that said, "Oh, never mind, you live in Cali," because that's what it said on your Facebook page.
Exactly. And
Like, we've never talked to each other before this. We talked one time, then we record fucking episode 1, and I think that's great for the show.
Yeah,
it
that's-
keeps it real.
it's definitely a synchronicity if I've ever experienced one, because we didn't plan for it, but it was exactly both what we wanted to do. And it's a meaningful coincidence, you know?
Yeah,
Like, I didn't know that I already knew somebody I could start a podcast with.
and
but
we
I
made
did.
it. We also made it happen.
Yeah, we were immediate. Like I said, dude, like, this is definitely a 2-man op, but it's definitely 60-40 in your favor at this point right now, dude. Because I think you had a drive that I was missing at the point in time. That's what everybody does.
Al Davis, win, baby, win.
Yeah, you know, like, you don't.
That's the way I look at it.
You
Fuck
don't
it.
need. It's a lot easier to get motivated when someone else is in it with you, which is
Correct.
why self-motivation and self-discipline is so hard to maintain.
I have absolutely no self-discipline.
So all you gotta do, you know, if you find, but that comes back to socialization, bro. It's so hard for people to do things individually.
To hold themselves accountable.
And we
where
really-
if I tell you I'm going to have this uploaded in 2 days,
Exactly.
motherfucker, I'm going to have it uploaded because you're counting on me.
Exactly.
Not just me.
And what you have to realize as a person, and I'm guilty of it right now, is you will fall short of expectations.
Every now
and it's
and then,
okay.
yes.
But all you have to do is face that you've fallen short, calculate, and adjust to not do so next time. But if people aren't held accountable for those correctable actions beforehand, they will continue to go on. They will turn into bad habits, and eventually those bad habits turn into poor socialization skills.
Correct.
And then suddenly you just have a personality that has been able to morph into something that really is hard for people to like. And socialization doesn't come easy to everyone naturally. You know, like, we all knew the weird kid in high school. We all knew.
No, I hate socializing. Like, I cannot talk
'Cause
in
it's
front
not-
of a group. If I get one-on-one, I'm great. Like, dude, we could break it down to, like, family events.
Yeah, I think that comes down to socialization even earlier than we're in school.
Right.
I think socialization in the age of 6 or 7 depends on how much the child has developmentally been interacted with those first 7 years.
Yeah.
How much attention has that child gotten up to that point, and are they comfortable being touched and even in the same bubble as another human being?
Right.
Because children are like puppies, dude. Like, if you treat and are loud and around them, they will be scared of the sight of human
Right.
force.
And it's not even, like, some people would say, like, being nervous, shy, like being crowd shy or something like that. Like, no, it's my family. Like, if I get around my family and there's 20 of us gathered around for, like, a holiday event, like, I'll say, like, 20 words. I'm good. But if you get me alone with one of them, like, I can sit down and actually talk and express myself.
Yeah,
Where
way
I
better.
don't feel like you get that with, like, 20 people, because you can't truly express yourself.
And
You can't explain what you mean when you say something.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna take it how they want to take it.
and that's what's interesting to me about large public speaking. Like, motivational speaking is different than, like,
It's a
other
trance,
than, like, lectures and stuff.
right?
You know,
I think
like,
motivational speaking, though, those people are showing up to be motivated.
Exactly.
They want to be there.
And yeah, like, what's the difference between public speaking on like a stadium sized level to that many people and being completely open and honest, and, like, you know, where's the line drawn between socialization and entertainment when it really is, like, open and honesty, like you're talking about?
Right.
Like, is that really a free individual if that individual can talk to the masses about how they feel or how open they are, or how easily relatable are you when you can open up in that zone? Because there is that zone for all of us where we're comfortable about talking about those things, but getting into it's harder for a different level of difficulty for everyone, like you
Yeah.
said, whether it be one person or two person or a certain person. But I seem like, you know, I typically sometimes tend to divulge too much information to individuals too quickly.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I'm willing to be an open individual. I trust entirely too easily because I think, like, people say trust is earned, not given.
Yeah.
I believe that, but I don't believe it should be negated to begin with in any situation.
On that,
I think upon the premise of human existence, as long as you have, like, we all make eye contact with individuals because it's human nature to make eye contact with another human being based on survival instincts to ensure that they're not going to murder you. That's
Correct.
why we make eye contact with each other, to
Correct.
make sure people aren't going to kill
Right.
us. That's why a plug socket. Let me see.
yeah, you go ahead. He's going to reset the camera. I'm going to explain what's going on in the fight. We are the second round. Minute and a half left in Pena versus Peterson. And Pena is picking this dude apart.
But have you ever wondered why you always see faces and everything? Like,
Actually, I really don't like looking at people in the eyes. I'm just not a big fan. I don't know what it is.
it's because it's an awkward survival thing, bro. Like, what I was getting at was
Well, I don't like people looking at me.
electrical outlets. They look like little emojis, you know? Like, we make
Yeah.
emojis out of keyboard icons
Yep.
because our brains are programmed to identify faces.
Right.
You know, like, that's a
To
survival
see
instinct.
if they're friendly, to see if they're angry, to see if they're going to kill us,
Yes.
pillage our village, steal
and
our
that's
women,
why it's so awkward.
rape
Like,
our kids. Bro, hey, I just want to say this.
Yeah.
30 minutes, I ain't said one thing about dick. Just throwing that out there. Let's keep going on.
That's a good one.
That
That's a
wasn't
new record.
no. That wasn't the first dick. I'm just saying I haven't said it yet.
Exactly.
So,
that might be a new
this is a
podcast
record right now.
Yeah.
Like we'll go through the whole episode without me making one dick joke.
Well, we'll find out. Maybe this episode. Episode 11, no dick episode.
We'll see what happens.
But yeah, dude, it just amazes me that people are so not misinformed, but so underdeveloped on their own understanding of how they best interact with the world. Because what has enabled me in life to understand myself so well is all of my failures, bro. Like my
understand.
failures, that like the ones that have been monumental and disastrous and nightmarish and on the borderline, paranoia, psychosis. I've experienced so many things through the negative aspects of my life. Now, I've been given an extremely privileged life and a great upbringing with wonderful parents who are still together, and I've been afforded something that most people have not been, but of my own accord, through my own actions, I have managed to destroy the life that was given to me on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And I think that's the funny thing about life. Is
They
you
always-
don't know what you
someone
got
will
till you
find a
got
way.
it, and you'll fuck
Right.
it up if you got it right away.
Always. I got yelled at. By my father, actually. My mom and dad went through a divorce.
How old were you?
And, how old was I? I was young, man. I was young.
Do you have more memories of them being together than apart, or well, obviously apart than together?
Yes,
but
I have more
Do you
memories.
have a very big bank of memories of them being together?
No, and the ones I do are not very good
That's what sucks, man. That's what sucks about memories.
like,
Memories.
no, but I do have some good ones. And I would rather remember those. Than,
Mhm.
Like I can not remember the bad ones.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're there. I can tap into them if I want to. But I would rather remember my family and my father and all that in a happier light.
Yeah, and the brighter light that you can see it in.
Yeah. And that's something that actually hit me. Like, I was working on a vehicle the other day, and that's something that me and my dad always did. I mean, that's what he did for a living.
Yeah.
He owned a shop in the
My
middle
father
of
as well.
hometown that I lived in,
Which
right?
we just talked about. It's surprising that your dad didn't know my dad because they were both.
I'm sure they
mechanics and like-
ran across each
They
other.
had to
sooner or
have,
later.
yeah.
But it's just one, like, I'm never going to go fishing with him again. I'm never going to play catch with him again. You know, like, him not being here, like, I could understand that. But when it came down to, fuck, we're never going to go fishing again. We're not going to play, like, that's what truly affected me.
Yeah.
It wasn't the major,
The weight
He's
the
not
weight
here.
sets in, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's heavy, man. It's appropriately heavy. Because there is a true weight of reality. That I heard something. I think it was on NPR. Someone telling a similar story. You're hesitant to accept your life now in such a drastically changed way, but what you have to accept is that your life will forever be that way, as opposed to how it used to be.
right, it's forever changed.
Yeah, you can only. It goes back to
Exactly.
being one turning two. You only know life up to
Exactly.
a certain point until it changes drastically, and it will never be how it was.
You can recollect that. Okay, this person's not going to be there, but you
have no
you,
idea.
You
how.
don't. Yeah, you don't realize that this person's not going to be here for saying happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
This person's not going to be here to
Yell at me.
cook steak.
Yeah.
Like, this person's just gone.
Just-
There's no running
yeah,
into him
not
at the
here.
gas station.
Yeah.
There's like, It's the fucking little things that pile up, and it's fucking bullshit, man.
It
I
is.
will say that.
It saddens me so much because I know how hard my life will be because I am so close to my parents. One really cool thing, we don't have any articles to talk about this week. This is just kind of back and forth.
Yeah, we're going on we're watching the UFC.
But I think it's better this way, dude, because it makes me think of articles I've already read. And one of them was that this guy, super cool. This guy's mom actually passed away, and he was a programmer, I think, a coder. And he actually, I don't know if he worked on it beforehand or before she passed, but what this guy did, and I would really love to do it. I don't know if he made it a available program or whatever, but it's definitely possible, and it makes me happy because it makes me more comfortable with the thought of when the day may be here because it might not seem as it is. It's like virtual reality. You can experience something that's not really real. So what you do is you take, say my mother, for instance. I'm super close with my mother. I'm a mama's boy. I text her every morning when I wake up. She usually calls me to make sure I wake up on time. Like, I'm 27 years old. My mom calls me the first thing every morning. I just got lucky. So we talk and we're so close. I have probably, just saying, a bank of maybe 15,000 text messages over. That's just a random number. I don't know if it's really that many.
Yeah.
You take those 15,000 text messages and you put them into a program on a computer that identifies them as conversation. There's already programs out there that do this. And you tell that program to take all of these conversations and read them, formulate them into a low-level artificial intelligence that can take them and start conversations for you. So then randomly, every day, you have, say my mother does pass one day, and it'll just make me feel better about life to receive a little.
You would have the ability to
have a program send me a text under her name of things she's already sent to me out of a
just something that would be like if she said, "Hey Isaac," she would text you that one day out of the blue.
Hey, I miss you, buddy. I hope hope you're having a good day.
There. Exactly.
Still, my mother would still be sending me things she's already sent me in a way that an artificial intelligence thinks. It would be naturally to send me. And I've talked to my mom about doing this too, because dude, I think so much about the day my parents won't be here because it just shakes me with fear, man.
Is that your biggest fear in life?
Absolutely, man. Like
losing your parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
You wanna know what mine is?
What?
This is like 100% bitch shit. No. I don't even know how we got into this. Like this whole podcast has been real emotional for some reason.
Definitely, man. That's where we gotta go sometimes.
But my biggest fear is actually never finding love, like never actually being in love, because every relationship other than like a few, my aunt and uncle, for example, like everyone I know has been through a divorce, has gone through a big dramatic change. Like to me, like
that's been a life-shaking experience.
The way I've always been brought up, or I've always thought is like marriage is marriage. Like you decided, okay, we're together, and until the day you die, you made that work. Like, no matter what it took, you made that work.
As a child observing a marriage ceremony, it would appear that after the ceremony, there's no undoing it.
Exactly. But then again, I also think that if you decide to, this comes to, be a man of your word. If you say I do, she says I do.
Till death do us part.
Make that shit work. Yeah. Be happy with each other. You have to understand that people are going to change. Change with them. And you don't have to become them. Yeah. Just grow with them. See where they're coming from. Understand them.
And I think people do not take marriage seriously enough. At least in America, I think it's such a over glorified process because the divorce rate is so high. It's something that's not taken sacrilegiously the way it should be. You know, it's like we should have another term outside of marriage, which means maybe temporarily permanent.
Right.
You know, it needs to be like pre-marriage or something.
Elope. Wouldn't that be eloping?
I think eloping is when people don't have a marriage, but they decide to go be together somewhere else. Maybe that is the proper term. But in my mind, it just needs to be like, I really don't know, dude. But see, it just comes down to like the system we formulated. Like the system we have formulated rewards people who are paired together under the society that we have them defined as married. When you file your taxes, are you single or married? It factors into how the government taxes you. So if there are benefits to being married, why wouldn't you want to marry? You know, if there are a certain, say it's a Venn diagram. Here's the married, here's single, and there's some things in the middle that are the same.
Right.
You know, you got like, I've looked at life as a Venn diagram lately, and because there's one to be made for every situation, bro.
Hey, Pena just won. He beat Peterson's ass.
Oh wow! It was all 3 rounds.
No, it went to a decision. Yeah,
Okay,
he didn't beat his ass.
That's what's up. I like fights that go all the way.
I mean, as long as it's competitive. If it's not competitive, get the fuck out.
If it's a good fight.
But anyways, go back to your Venn diagram about life.
I don't know. It's just like if you're single and there are things about your life that you like, and then think about being together forever with someone, and like that's the whole thing with like the idea of the Christian idea of marriage. Like you're not supposed to live with somebody until you're married. Well, guess what?
Right.
I moved in with my best friend of like 10, 12 years, and then it almost lessened our friendship after we moved in together because we didn't realize we grew apart in more ways than we grew together.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
happens with every way. So if you don't understand how someone lives until you live with them, and that only happens after you get married, you're in for a crazy experience.
But then I'll also say, like, marriage or living with somebody is like it's another job. Like you have to be respectful.
And that's what goes back to, like, we all have tribal instincts, and a tribal instinct is just to grow up in the village you're in, and, you don't have to do anything except for survive, but we're all expected to fulfill all these other different roles, a career, a marriage,
right.
all these different roles in society, when really all we need to be is individuals that work together to accomplish
And I don't think
something.
you can look down on yourself. Like, okay, so my parents were high school sweethearts.
Right.
And my dad, he owned a business.
Right.
Whatever age, like real young.
Yeah.
And then my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, like got a career and all this stuff. And it's like, that's how we've been brought up. Like my brother went down the same path.
Okay.
My cousins mostly went down the same fucking path.
Wow.
Like just not high school sweethearts, but like out of college at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they're getting married 24,
Yeah,
25 years old.
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? You don't even know yourself. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like. So I grew up in London my
Right.
whole life. That's all I know. Do you realize how big the world fucking is?
Dude, it's
London is not the be all end all. Like I should be able to go.
Most people die
look
with
for somewhere.
I think most people die within 25 miles of where they're born. Like 70% of people or something I read.
That's insane.
Insane.
I need to go find what makes me happy, and what makes me happy might not be around here. There may be other things elsewhere that I need to go find.
Yeah.
I think. So, I'll put it this way. Fuck it. If they hear it, they hear it. Some family members look down on me like that because I'm not married. Because I don't have a career that I'm 100% gun-ho about.
Right.
Right now, I'm like, I'll say till the day I die. Well, not till the day I die. Until I get a real good career that I like, a real good job.
Yeah.
I was looking for a job when I found this one. AKA, I can go find another fucking job.
Yeah, I think one of the most messed up things we ask kids when they're little is, what do you want to be? Don't ask them that. Don't put that kind of pressure on a 7-year-old.
They don't know what the fuck they want to be. They don't know what the fuck
they want to be 7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let them live their
be
fucking
7
life.
until they're 8. You know?
It's just one of them things, and like them looking down on me, asking me these questions, like, why do you like? When are you gonna have a kid? When are you gonna have a kid? When are you gonna get married? Why does it fucking matter?
Yeah.
Why does it matter?
Dude, that's
how do you know that's gonna make me happy? I can be happy. Why don't you ask me, hey, instead of why aren't you married yet, or are you seeing anybody lately? Why don't you say, hey, Brandon, what makes you happy?
Yeah. Well, what how has work been lately? Yeah,
just anything other than
something depreciating.
The normal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you should be like, we were here at this point in our life.
Yeah.
And your cousins are here at this point in their life. Why aren't you here?
Well, why do you always have to just compare me?
The rest of my family isn't trying to be a stand-up comedian and isn't talking on a podcast and doesn't have bigger dreams than being
trying to leave
the
London.
normal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's okay to want to stay where you were born at and like not have bigger aspirations.
I don't have an issue with that.
I feel like people do arrest each other over because they want to dream bigger. People are like, oh no, don't get me wrong, don't uproot your life to make a risky situation that absolutely has no chance of paying off. Live your life in a way that you can take calculated risks to get yourself further in life. And
every now and then though, you're gonna have to take a risk.
Sometimes you gotta grab your balls and
you're gonna have to
get on the plane. Yeah.
It's just gonna have to happen.
Yeah, and that's what I love about life.
But like you said,
you
have to take calculated risk at the beginning,
and
at the middle.
If you have kids when you are 17, 18, 19, 16, 27, if you have kids earlier on in life,
good luck.
As soon as certain life circumstances happen, freedom is removed. There's a liberty that is removed.
Yes.
By taking on the responsibility. Now you can just be a deadbeat and not take care of your child and run away from that responsibility.
It'll catch up to you sooner or
and
later.
Pretend like you still have that freedom.
It'll catch up to you sooner or later.
But karma's a bitch, and you'll pay for it.
It's not even karma. Sooner or later, them child support bills are gonna come through.
Yeah,
you can't run forever.
And you'll pay for it in the next life, bro. You really will.
Sooner or later.
And that's I just don't, man. But I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah. Two things. Alan Watts talks about this. I always talk about Alan Watts. He always says, "Other people tell you who you are."
Fuck them.
No, but I'm saying we all live our life that way.
I will.
We all let other people tell us what we are. Oh, your hair, your hair is brown. You're fat. You weigh this. You're not smart. You can't do this. You're not good at basketball. You're not funny. Everyone is always telling you who you are.
There's two sides to the story though, because you really can't. Like, unless you are...
So, you are what they say if you listen to them.
Unless you are the biggest critic of all time, most people can rarely look at themselves and see their own flaws. So he is correct in one aspect.
Well, I wouldn't say most people can't see their own flaws. I would say people have blinders on.
They don't want to acknowledge them.
They have blinders on like horses do.
Correct. They know what they're doing wrong. They just don't want to fix it. They won't acknowledge it.
They don't seem to have the tools or realizations to address their flaws. I would agree with you, though.
I fucked up.
No,
you're right. You're right. Most people live their lives being told who they are rather than accepting who they are and actually being who they are.
Yeah.
They think they have to fit into a certain fucking
definition of what they've been told. Yeah.
And I think that also stems from early life socialism.
Christianity, upbringing, whatever they want.
Just growing up. Growing up in school.
People
determine if you were a nerd or if you were fucking cool.
Click-based automatically, yeah.
In fucking 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. And everybody stayed in that until high school. For the most part, correct?
It was very rare for someone to jump cliques.
To move.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And it's also true in the relative position of society. Very rarely does a lower class individual jump to the higher class. Right. But that's been the lottery.
I also think we need to talk about that. Because in school...
It's no coincidence that the societal structure is the way it is, man.
Well, in school, I would talk to anybody at any time.
Right.
And I think more people who are grown up and who would... most likely listen to this. I don't think we're talking to high school kids. Maybe we are. Yeah. I think they need to talk to more people that they might not coincide with. If you're at a bar, drinking a beer, talk to the dude that's next to you that you might not know.
Instead of
the fucking delivery driver who delivers the 5-gallon jugs for the water dispenser at work. Yeah. Talk to that dude.
Talk to him every day.
Figure out what's going on with his life.
The person that you just make eye contact with every day and don't say hi to at work, hey, guess what? Say hi to them tomorrow.
I mean, the only thing that's going to happen is your life is going to get better. Yeah, unless that dude's going to fucking kill you. But you'll know it within 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Don't see him after work.
I think it's happened within like the past 50 years. Definitely like the last 25. Now it's more, at least in America. And I can't even say that, at least in London. And that's the thing, dude. I speculatively speak so much.
Right.
I act like I have more knowledge than I do.
But that's all we know.
Exactly. So when I say like America in general, that's a generalization. In my experience, people. Damn, I lost my train of thought there. I don't fucking know. Man.
All right. So
I can't think sometimes.
I did a religious test.
Okay.
And
Are you positive?
Right. I'll just bring you up the fucking... So I don't even know who this shit's done by.
Okay.
So they say, which I know absolutely nothing about religion. So I took this test. It was about 25 questions, and you just had to answer.
This is cool. I'm glad you brought this up, dude.
And so I am evidently secular.
What's the website called?
Find My Religion.
FindMyReligion.com.
And I mean, it has, as you can tell, it has all basically.
It looks like the top of the website looks like one of those coexist signs, and it's basically a personal identity test, and it tells you where your moral and ethical values fall into. Yeah.
Exactly, where they fall into, not what you should follow.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
what is more in line with how you
your attributes and beliefs fall into, most likely.
So I'm mostly secular. Do you know anything about secular?
I don't. Actually, I think it's older. Agnostic, remember? Yeah.
Secular is actually, they say I'm agnostic.
Episode 5, I think, we talked about what Gnostic and agnostic thoughts are, and I told Brandon he's probably agnostic instead of atheist.
Which is just a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known about the existence or nature of God.
Yeah, atheists are people who say no way.
Right. Agnostic is you don't know if they do exist. You don't know if they don't exist.
All you're willing to admit is that you don't know.
That's all you're willing to admit. So they say basically I live my life like an atheist, other than the fact that I'm willing to say that I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to say
people who are
no.
in that boat are not moved spiritually in the way that believers are, so therefore they are more inclined to believe that it does not than it does.
But
They entertain both ideas.
And I will say, like, the only thing I will agree, like,
That's what-
I am kind of secular. I don't think it's to deal with religion because, I mean, the first line that say you are secular. The next line, this means that you make decisions about your life by your own experience and try to think about what's best for everyone involved. I don't think that's a religion. Like,
That's
so
a human
being a
instinct,
good
yeah.
fucking person is a religion now?
And that's the thing, dude.
If that's a religion, okay, that's what I am.
The oldest religions are just formed on ideals of like basic moral and ethical compass directions, man.
Right.
It's very odd how every religion stems out of the same moral ethical development of being a
that's
good,
what it mostly is. Yeah.
of you know, light wins over dark, but the first thing that had to be said was let there be light. So
Right.
dark had to be
Right.
first.
So
you know?
right, and it also like it breaks it down. It also breaks it down to like what groups are more secular. So like females are more secular than males,
Okay.
and then the age group for the people who took this test, like 18 and under, is the most that are secular.
And it
Because-
comes back to only having 18 years of life experience.
Do you think that, or do you think we're getting more enlightened, more in like
I would be.
gay, homosexual?
I'm not gay, bro.
Homosexual is more accepted now than it has ever been in America. Anyways.
Okay, yes, you're bringing up a very
So-
good point. Not okay.
So secular meaning live your life the best way you can without harming others or affecting others. Like, don't you think that's how they're seeing it now? Because all of the kids, like through Instagram,
Check
through
it out,
Twitter,
though.
they all see it as a way through public school. Anyways, they all see it like we should all be able to live together. Everybody like. Okay, so part of my family, not even my family, some people I know are racist.
Okay.
Correct?
We all know some
They
racists.
don't like black people. I went to public school.
Right. And
Some of my
yeah.
good friends
Are black,
in
yeah.
school were African, black,
Yeah.
Chinese, whatever you want to, any other race than white.
Oriental and
Yeah.
Negroes.
Any other fucking, of course, I just wanted to fuck the Asians.
Right.
But that's why I wasn't friends with Asian dudes.
Um,
They would beat me up. Bruce Lee, karate.
Oh yeah.
Wah.
But no, dude, I think you're bringing up a really good point. Let me break it down for you based on my my speculative thought about how this is
Do you think
associated.
I'm right with like secular being under 18 because they
Here's
think
what I think.
that way?
I would be interested to see this chart based on yearly data. So I would like to see the age group based down broke down over the last 25 to 50 years.
Yeah.
And I would also like to see that in correlation with the census data involved in how people define their religious alignments. Because I can almost guarantee you that the increase in secular thought is
probably
deviated from the
decrease in
in
other religious,
identified Christianity in America.
and other religious.
So
avenues.
Christianity the belief in Christianity in America, Catholicism as well. I think America's at an all-time low of claiming a practicing religion.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, if people are putting more
that would
thought,
explain why it goes
people
down.
are putting more thought into a material life and not being connected. Also, side note, I think psychedelic experiences are the link to mystical experiences, and mystical experiences are the link to religious experiences and religious beliefs.
You said material like life. People are getting more connected to like,
jobs and cars and
like.
and
Do you really?
images.
Because I don't like. That's not what I want. I want to be happy.
Oh, I know,
could
yeah.
Be completely broke.
People think
If
that
I
those
am talk-
things.
if,
yeah.
If I could talk into a mic and get paid for it, no matter what it is, what I'm doing, like I really enjoy this.
If you could do it for the money you make now, you do that
I
instead.
am content. Like I have food.
Yeah.
I have shelter. I can live anywhere. I don't need the best of nothing.
Exactly.
I think I found my true calling. I think more people need to do that.
Yeah,
I
and-
think more people need to find what I wouldn't say true
Exactly.
calling. I think more people need to find what makes me happy.
You don't have to be what you said you thought you wanted to be when you were 7. You
No.
don't have to be what you thought you wanted to go to school for when you started college. You don't have to be what
I'm
your
paying
parents
for that
told you
right
to
now.
be. Exactly, dude. Like people need to realize you don't have to be anything other than what you feel called to be, but you do have to find the means to provide for yourself in the meantime. I think you
Correct.
should, you have to contribute to society in a productive way and figure out how to do that, but it's not a given on how to. And most of all, look at the parts of your life that make you miserable and do anything and everything to ask for help on how to remove them and put yourself in a position for life. Because if you are doing something every single day that makes you miserable, figure and that.
I mean, that's a definite. That's a definite.
Dude, people hate change, but they don't. People hate change. People don't know how to change, but people need change, and that's the human complex.
Because they don't know any difference.
That comes back to
they
how
know
we're
what
talking,
life is. The only thing that can happen if you change,
right,
is you get better. Because if you don't get better,
your spectrum
you
becomes
go
a little bit wider.
Back
yeah.
to what you were doing.
You start life with the blinders on, bro. Every experience adds to the spectrum of your vision of life, And as you get older, your spectrum gets wider and wider and wider. As you get experiences, wider and wider and wider.
That's why you don't have kids out of high school. That's why you go live life.
Dude, but that's what's crazy. My mom's family had 5 brothers, 5 kids, 10 kids, 5 boys, 5 girls. My dad's family.
But that's what they knew.
But they're not Catholic, though. Yeah, that was what they knew. But that's what I'm getting at. It used to be baby boomer generation. It was, by the time you're 18 or 21, you should have at least 1 kid.
Right.
Probably 2, be married in the house, and have the white picket fence.
Yeah.
There's a generalization of 50s America and baby boomer generation. Dude, they destroyed it, bro. I'm sorry. Not baby boomer generation in particularly, but the way society has evolved over the past 60 to 80 years has put everything in a position to just be fuckery.
Right. It's just, I would rather
marriage, all kinds of shit.
As
bro.
of right now,
the system is so broken.
I would rather have the experience of life rather than having a kid. Which is fucked up to say.
But people think, but it comes back to what you asked me, what I think the purpose of life is. I think the ability to reproduce is part of it.
Everybody's going to have
But I don't think everyone should at a certain,
Yeah.
That's why I think men are able to be, men are fertile.
Yes.
Older in life. Is that the correct term? Do you have fertile sperm? Does that mean
right.
it means your swimmers are good, right?
You're right.
So women are able to have children earlier in life. They reach puberty earlier than men do, and also mature faster. But women cannot reproduce as long as men's sperm are good. So it would seem that Mother Nature wants women to be able to produce life earlier on in their life.
That's because it's more viable. They're more
but
viable.
It's important that
they're
men,
less likely to die. That is what that is. They are more or less likely to die.
Because you can have more children over time if you start having them younger.
That also probably helps, but you are more or less... I mean,
so if you're increasing your genetic pool, you want to start having children earlier and have them as long as you can. If you're a man, you can have multiple children with multiple women, and you can have them your entire life, Genghis Khan style. Just trying to get Genghis Khan numbers, baby.
The reason I think that they're born... they're able to have kids so young is not due to that. I think it's due to the fact that it's truly a health concern. We could bring up the statistics next week. I guarantee you more women die giving birth after the age of 40 than they do at the age of 20. And I guarantee, or in between 20 and 30, and in between 40 and 50. And I also guarantee you that there is more women giving birth between 20 and 30 than 40 and 50. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think there's a guarantee that
it'd be science, baby.
I think there's probably a guarantee that there's more women having more children at a higher age than ever before, but I think that's due to fertility drugs.
I will agree.
It's due to fertility drugs and medical intervention. I'm talking about naturalistic, not homeopathic, but whatever, holistic style. Because that's why, dude, I realized the relationships I've been in, I was under the impression that the last girl I was dating wasn't on birth control, and that would seem accurate because we never used condoms or anything, and I didn't get her pregnant. But the guy she slept with after me, right after we broke up, she got pregnant. Right after. So I might just be.
This dude's an idiot.
I might not be. Why? I'm just keeping it real.
No, because you believed her. And she said she wasn't. She was on birth control.
Well, I mean, I never nutted in her, but we never used the condom.
Well, high five, brother.
And we had sex hundreds of times.
That's called being skillful.
That might be called I need my sperm checked.
You just said I'm almost 30. You just said you never nutted in.
I know, but you got your
pull-out game strong, boy.
But that's what I wonder. If people are really stupid, or if the pull-out game is just that easy.
I just don't think people know how to fucking pull out, dude. You just have to stop yourself.
You gotta understand
If you have to yank on your dick like 5 times for it to come, do that rather than no God. Am I gonna have a kid next week or not?
There is such thing as a pre-sesh masturbation. You know, you can make yourself last longer, guys. You don't have to.
It's called
You
flogging
don't
the
have
dolphin.
to only last 3 minutes. Like
It's called flogging the dolphin. You know that, right?
sometimes you gotta do that. You know?
It's like It's like batting practice.
Yeah.
You just warm up a little bit. You knock the first one out.
You just, if you got a date and you really think you're gonna get laid from that chick on Tinder, just masturbate before you take a shower. Take your shower, go on your date. You'll probably last longer on the date.
Exactly.
But, probably not. It probably won't be much longer.
But it's still something, all right? And double up them condoms. You'll seem thicker. I'm not even lying. Like, yes,
will work.
There is more of a chance that they will break, but you'll seem thicker. And
You'll feel bigger.
thickness is what ladies like. All right, so it also said that, like, back to religion, it said I would be pagan underneath that.
Dude.
Or Wiccan.
Welcome. Dude, I'm telling you, dude. Pagans, Wiccans.
I don't even know what that shit is.
Pagans, Christianity,
Pagans
mainly
are the
formed
people-
out of pagan rituals.
Pagans are the people
Vikings.
Pagans are the people that beat the shit out of fucking
I'm pretty sure
St.
Vikings.
Patty's.
I'm pretty sure Vikings were pagans.
Remember St. Patty's? He wasn't even named Patrick, but he went back to Ireland.
Yeah,
he got his
yeah.
ass beat by some pagans in Ireland.
Dude, I'm telling you, because pagans were a huge part of Viking life and the predating Christianity, right? So before Christianity, in the eastern part of the world, it was trying to evolve, but there was already an established religion before. People think Christianity was the first religion and it's been around forever. No. Open up a book or read some links.
Yeah, you dummies.
Like, inform yourself about older religions than the one that you're aware of, because chances are you'll learn about global history, you'll learn about religious movements and how they've affected that part of the world, as well as what those religions believe in. And pagan rituals and religion had a huge influence on Christian culture, but Christian culture literally wiped out pagan belief, if I'm not mistaken. But
No, I'm pretty sure they converted everybody. Like,
and also, I think some of my knowledge is coming out of watching the show Vikings. So I don't know how much I know.
I'm pretty sure you're like 100% correct, because like Christmas has nothing to do with it's either Christmas or Thanksgiving had nothing to do with actual like Christian timeline. But then
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas, and then the Christians met up with the pagans, and the pagans were like, "Hey, we got this crazy holiday in the middle of December," and the Christians were like, "We got that too, guys! It's crazy.
Dude, we'll celebrate it as well."
Yeah, exactly, and that's what kind of like actually helped merge. And I've heard that through the Joe Rogan Experience.
I think you're talking about the Amanita muscaria mushroom being red and white, and it being the colors of Santa Claus.
It is. Yes.
I forget who first talked about that. Terrence McKenna has a lecture on it. Rogan talks about it.
The Christians had no holiday in December.
There's a mushroom called the Amanita muscaria. It's red and white.
It's red. It's the
just like Santa Claus.
It's Mario. It's the Mario fucking mushroom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
It's red and has white dots.
Nature, and people have been eating it. Pagans used it for I believe pagans used it for the ritualistic experience of what they did on December 25th.
Right.
But,
and then
it is odd, though, that seemingly Christianity chose pivotal days of the calendar year that the pagans already knew to coincide with stuff. Like, actually, no, I'm not. I'm thinking of seasons.
No, you are correct though.
Are there like
Christianity didn't have a holiday in December? I am 100% sure about that. And then they found out that the pagans did, and I wonder why they were trying to convert the pagans.
Why did the pagans make it the 25th though?
I have no idea. Why that happened.
See, I'm thinking.
I don't even know if it was the 25th. It might have just been in December.
Different day, yeah.
And then, the Christians were like,
"What is the winter solstice? What day is that?"
I think that changes all the time, doesn't it? That's based on like the length.
I need to do some research.
I'm pretty sure that's based on the length of the sun in the sky.
Yeah, like there's a winter solstice and a summer solstice.
I'm pretty sure the winter solstice is the shortest day in the year, and the summer solstice is the longest day of the year. So that wouldn't have a date. That would actually coincide with the length that the sun is in the sky. So it would deal with our rotation and how we're moving.
The same way that the moon is in a different phase on.
Yeah,
it's not the same day. Full moon's on the same day every.
Exactly.
But there's a full moon every month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not 30 days between each other. It changes.
Exactly.
Because,
it's still a cycle,
we're on a tilt.
I was thinking that this is where I don't know what I'm talking about. I think pagans aligned some of their, if not pagans, I think there have been religions in the past who have aligned their religious ideals and rituals based off of significant celestial movements like solstices and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, it only makes sense to worship the gods of sun and rain and all those things on the days that they. It only makes sense to worship the sun god on the longest day of the year. You know.
Well, it also only makes sense to actually like bow down and pray to them because that's what we needed earlier in life. Like miracles weren't a thing. You didn't hope.
If you didn't get rain until you prayed to the rain god, you believe in him.
What I'm saying is like
pray to him in rain.
I guarantee you that there wasn't people like praying like, oh, I hope Sally gets better from the cold. Like they were praying over real shit. They had to put faith in real shit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I hope we get food or none of us are fucking eating.
Yeah. Sorry.
God doesn't deal with minute fucking coincidences, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, God doesn't answer every prayer, and like that's what amazes me is the Christian.
That's the funniest fucking thing. God doesn't answer every prayer.
A religious person's irrationality is my most misunderstood thing. Like the ability for a Christian believer to rationalize irrational thought blows my mind.
Why doesn't like every single church ever in the world, you know, because, you know, they all believe in a God and whatnot. Why don't they all just set a day aside and be like, okay, so all the Christians, we're going to pray on this day. And if nothing fucking happens, then evidently Christianity's bullshit. Yeah. Like what is it? Because, you know why? Because they know it's bullshit themselves.
Like if God doesn't
I'm just fucking around.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if God doesn't answer every prayer, certainly he must answer one of ours. So let's make a prayer book and we'll all log all of our prayers and we'll keep track. Like why hasn't Christianity made like an official log of prayer book yet?
It's not even that. Like, it's just
God answered all of these was like I want a percentage of prayers God has answered.
Everybody just pray for the same thing on the same day, some minute shit. If it doesn't happen,
yeah.
You're reading the wrong book.
Check it out, bro. It's called look it up. Fun fact of the episode, look up the term Messianic Age. The Messianic Age is, I believe, speculated in the Jewish religion, Judaism, and the Kabbalah and the Torah. And the Messianic Age is when everybody collectively is on the same global consciousness. Basically, all of us resonating our consciousness at a higher level to elevate ourselves to the Godhead. It's a collective global consciousness of the Messianic age, and that's when God will return. When we're ready, but we're not. We're never going to be.
0.0% Jewish.
See, dude, Judaism is crazy, bro.
I ain't Mormon neither.
I think Jews only read the Old Testament.
And they only ask one question for the fucking Muslims. They're like, what do you think a woman should do? Fucking listen to her husband. It was some fucking nonsense.
No, dude. Like,
I was like, no, we can all live, you know, however we want.
If this podcast was actually really, really huge and like hundreds of people would watch, I would probably catch a lot of flack for what I'm about to say. But
no, throw that out there. I'll back you up.
Yeah, Sharia law in some.
Sharia law is fucked up.
It has some values in its practice and ideologies towards women and valuing them in a different way. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's not okay.
No, it makes perfect sense. Some of it makes perfect sense, and I can tell you that because
that a wife is a man's property? That makes perfect sense to you?
The same way in a marriage agreement that the man belongs to the woman.
No.
Yeah.
A man has never belonged to a woman.
Not in terms of property. I'm not terming slavery, bro. I'm terming the agreement, the mutual agreement to be with each other.
But no, in Sharia law, the woman is property.
Exactly. But
they are property. They have to do whatever the man says.
I understand
that is not okay.
I understand that. And the same way that in marriage, a woman is supposed to absolutely provide and be there for their husband in the same way, but it's not put in the same light.
But it's not a law.
But like
it's not a law.
No, but that's
Sharia law is
listen,
a thing.
Dude, listen. You're talking about.
But you are correct. You are correct because if you go off the Old Testament, like it says 100%, the woman needs to do whatever the fucking man says. Yeah, you are correct.
But it has to, Brandon. It has to do with the cultural difference of how seriously we take religion. America as a nation doesn't take Christianity as serious as Western nations take Islam.
Right. Okay, you are correct. You are
On a
correct.
collective cultural level, if we were more serious about our religious practices,
We wouldn't be as advanced as we are as a culture. I truly think.
possibly.
No. Who has been around longer, us or any other culture in the
Any
Eastern
other culture.
Hemisphere? Any other culture? They've been around longer.
What do you mean around longer?
Then what? Like, okay,
We are the Western world, bro. The Eastern world is the oldest part of the world.
When did Christopher Columbus create America?
1775.
Okay, so how long has
So there's a rhyme in Ocean
yeah
Blue.
yeah
And
how long
72,
how long
something
has
like that.
India been hanging out? How long has Judaism been a thing?
That's what I'm saying.
They've been around for a lot longer. So are we more advanced
We're
than
in
them?
agreement.
So are we more advanced than them because we don't believe in religion, or what?
you're
because
comparing-
we
you're-
are a lot further along.
No. Here's what Brandon. You're comparing technological advancement
No.
and society in its relation to abandoning religion.
No, because
You're saying we've technologically come faster in the Western world because we abandoned religion, and the Eastern world hasn't.
I think technology comes along with it, but also we're not like morally killing gays. We're not stoning gays.
Okay,
I don't think that
understand-
comes.
I understand where you're coming from.
I don't
now.
think that comes with technology. I don't think it's because we have an iPhone we don't throw rocks at gay people.
Okay. So you think abandoning older ancient practices like
With
stoning and
intelligence,
killing gays,
with
yes,
science,
weeding out, yeah.
is
Not with
better
science,
off.
but not with science, but with the evolution of leaving that religion.
No, I would say it's with science because they think that homosexuals are less. Where science proves that a homosexual,
See, this is
a
what-
homosexual
dude.
man is the same as me or you. They're like down to the base product, other than they like dick.
Yeah.
That is the only difference. And we have come so far to recognize that as these people believe that written in a book says that they're less, so that means they are less.
And that's that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, because scientifically, you can't be gay.
No.
Okay,
Scientifically, you can't be straight.
exactly.
Scientifically,
okay?
you're a human.
So when you bring science into religion, it no longer is what it is.
It's no
because
longer viable.
Science is used to understand the world as we perceive it, and religion is there to
believe
rely
in faith.
to rely back on and have faith in what we don't
To have faith
understand.
in. Okay, so that's the big difference.
Okay.
Religion was created to
Explain the
have
misunderstood.
to have a belief in
To put-
the misunderstanding of life.
I don't know why
Bef-
I don't know why the sun shines, but it does because there's a sun god and we have to pray to him.
But before science came along, and then once science came along, and we were able to explain most
Understand
things
how,
with
Then,
true
with
backup
understanding
forces.
in science, we were able to abandon irrational practices associated
Correct.
with our religion.
But religion was needed earlier in days for the moral outlook. If you didn't have
yeah.
religion, no one would make it here as far as we did.
If you didn't come together as a small societal group,
Community,
like a tribe,
correct.
and share common practices, beliefs, and rituals, you wouldn't.
For the
you-
better.
Yeah, for the better, you would only remain a certain size.
Right.
You know,
Well, you would just be at war with every now and then.
Think about it, bro. Think about it. It's some desert. It's some desert island shit, right?
So
why
community-
did I say desert island? Treasure island shit.
So basically, religion is just a way for a community to grow
It's
It's
way
a common
it's a way to
basis.
enhance the strength of a community.
and create more.
The same way a cult does. Yeah.
But it's to keep them in order so we can advance other shit. Hey, we have shit to do.
Kind of
you
like- yeah.
dummies
Yeah.
stay in place.
the same way that most churches, in my opinion, steal people's money every Sunday through tithings and offerings.
Yeah.
And homies outside driving a Chrysler 300.
Right. That happens all the
Amen,
time.
brother. Thank you, Lord.
That happens all the time.
You know,
There's a good
mega
one.
churches.
There's a good one on.
There's a mega church with stadium fucking seating
No,
in like
there-
Dublin and shit.
There's a good one on YouTube.
It's
Like
nuts,
where the dude gets caught and like he's getting
It's
interviewed.
disgusting.
Well, interrogated, and like they just ask him a bunch of questions, and he's like, "No, well, it's for the church. No, sir, you have a $1.3 billion house. No, it's a resort for the church." It's like, what the fuck, dude?
And that's the thing, dude. Like,
We're killing it with this podcast, might I say?
Oh, yeah,
an hour
definitely,
15
man.
through it.
no,
I
for no
feel
segments,
good.
this is a great one. Yeah.
Also, I will just say, Guinea Pigs Brando did not work out. I was up till fucking 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. I got 2 hours of sleep before
I
work.
feel you, man. Yeah, my schedule's been whacked out lately.
Well,
too.
I I released that podcast. My buddy hit me up today. You want to go out for some beers? Next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Actually,
I got work in fucking 2 hours. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's Saturday and it's 9:45. It's like 9:35 p.m. right now. I woke up at 5:30 p.m. and responded to you at 4:30, and I told you to be here. Then I went back to sleep, and then luckily I woke up but just before you got here. So I've technically only been awake for like 3 hours now. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why we're killing it.
And you're fucking up too.
This is the morning meeting for me. Yeah.
So there is no new goal. The
That's all right.
goal is 10:30 sleep time the rest of the week. Other than if I have to do, unless I have to.
Instead of that, bro, instead of the goal of 10:30, you should look at the goal differently and set a certain amount of hours for yourself to sleep per night. Don't give yourself a bedtime. Don't give yourself a bedtime. Give yourself an optimum amount of sleep time.
All right, I don't get 7 hours of sleep right now, so I want 7 hours of sleep a night, unless a podcast and or stand up gets in the way of that. Because
Right.
I would rather,
Unless you have a productive reason to be awake.
exactly, I would rather chase my dreams than sleep.
Yeah, and that goes back to shout out episode 10, identifying healthy self routines and weeding out bad ones.
Yeah. So
Daily routine, things like that.
Other than that, getting Big Brando's restarting. The only thing I have is like kinky. I don't want to talk about it. The only other thing I thought of talking about is like, but we've been so far through this, I could keep this one, and it's a real good like barn burner. I think we could have fun
This could
with
be a little
it.
bonus post-show segment.
Well, I just think we could talk shit about it for a while, and I kind of want to keep that for like
Well,
a funny
here's
podcast.
what we'll do, dude.
Where the whole time we've kind of kept this serious,
Yeah,
man. We
let's
went in deep.
let's end the regular podcast right now, and we'll cut, and then we'll continue what you want to talk about and then we'll use that as our Patreon post segment. If you sign up for Patreon, you'll get the extra segment that YouTube and all the other ones don't get, but you only get it through Patreon.
It's only $5.
$5 a month, guys. You'll get a couple extra episodes.
Some extra
at
shit.
least an extra episode a month. It could
You'll
be
get
juicy,
first dibs
yeah.
on shirts and whatnot
Yeah,
because we're gonna make those soon.
Some racy pictures of Brandon on a calendar, maybe.
Yeah, we'll make one.
Yeah,
Whatever
we'll make
happens,
a
happens.
sexy calendar.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, this
also,
has been episode 11. It's the Joker and the Smokers. Thank you
It's
guys.
been
Awesome.
free balling. Let us know how you feel about it. We kind of went deep there. I
Yeah,
really.
let us know what you thought about the no articles this time. How was the conversation?
I just. I hope it helps somebody else. I hope someone else heard this and it was helping them through a time.
That's wait a minute. We started this podcast and didn't realize how much we would help each other. So we just hope we guys are helping you too.
Correct. So like and
all the links and stuff are down below. We'll link. Hopefully anything we talked about, we'll throw that in there, and we will see you guys next time.
You can't ever beat the fucking rate and review though. Rate and review on iTunes.
5 stars.
We
Yeah,
have
definitely.
to have that.
Give us
Also, Google Play. We are now on,
Now,
baby.
hey man, that's so cool. You can literally search us, dude, and I can pull out any wireless device and go to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Podbean, and find my own.
We on there.
podcast. It's
We
so
on there.
cool, dude.
We on there.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Guys.
iTunes. We on there.
We on there, bitch.
Facebook. We on
We on
there.
that bitch.
Instagram. We on
We
there.
on that bitch. And also coming to iTunes soon is Global Genocide. We'll have our official first studio track.
Man, dick.
It's gonna be
I
awesome.
made it a whole episode without talking about dick.
Hey.
Woo!
We're moving up in the world, people. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.